Book your driving lesson now at dla-driving.co.uk. Sponsored by DLA Driving Schools.
Hello and welcome to Oh When the Town Christmas Special. My name's Dave and with me as always we've got Steve and Batara. How you doing, fellas?
Absolutely belting, mate.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So, this is my first one.
Yeah,
Come
it's your
on.
first one. And
Yeah.
those of you who watched these Christmas ones before will know that we normally have Steve Carr here with us because he only comes for the cheese board, which, by the way, looks fantastic, doesn't it?
It does at the moment, yeah.
I was going to say, but Steve Carr has eaten today. That's why he's not turned up.
Yeah.
That's why.
So there's more cheese for us. Listen, we're going to just have a little chat around things that, there's no football till Boxing Day, so that's fantastic. And we're just going to chill out, drink some wine and watch some interviews. Let's have a
Little. Here's to Oh When the Town and Luton Town.
Yeah, how cool is that? Now, Christmas is always fun for me.
Yeah.
I always love the football at Christmas, but how do you spend your Christmas morning, you two?
I get up at an outrageously early hour because of my gorgeous grandson. He's insistent. Last Christmas, it was before 6 a.m.
Oh, no.
No. Far too early.
6 a.m.
Far too early.
And we was up. We'd done presents by 6:30, and but so then I'm thinking, when can we have the first drink? Is it
10 o'clock,
Bucks
I reckon.
Fizz sort of 7 o'clock?
10 o'clock, I reckon, yeah.
Well, not if you're up by 6. 10 o'clock, no.
That's midday, isn't
no,
it?
I'm talking like 7:30, 8. Just
Christ.
I'll go with
gently
that.
ease yourself into the day.
I'll go with that. But I'm assuming you've got your lad loads of
Yeah,
memorabilia.
well, I got him this year, yeah.
Yeah.
My first Christmas having him, or with him, rather than having to traipse around somewhere at 5 in the morning. So, yeah, it's good. But
And I hope you get him a Luton shirt.
do you know what? I can't get one because the club shop is so bad.
Never mind.
Yeah, anyway. Sorry, I can over there.
No, it's not the club shop. The naughty elves have stolen them all. Yeah, that's what it
They
is.
took it, give it to Santa and he's slaying around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, in the past, our former host would, Luke, before he left to go to pastures new, would set everybody a task to get some interviews. And I asked you, Steve, to get an interview. And I asked you, Batara, to get some interviews. And to put it mildly, you sort of let me down.
Yeah,
No,
and there's a very good reason for that, because I get easily starstruck.
Yeah.
I get starstruck when I see my mum and dad. So, if I was to see a footballer, or heaven forbid, if I ever saw Mick Harford, I would not be able to even talk. I'd just be,
Love you, Mick.
yeah, exactly.
Well.
So it is a good thing for all concerned that I've not been. But there is someone I could interview, but maybe that's for next year.
Oh, fair enough. He set the bar. So I've actually gone out and got 4 interviews. 4.
Yeah, but that helps with your name dropping, doesn't it?
Yeah. And so my first name drop is somebody who's been on the podcast before, and had a great chat with him. He used to play for Luton, and he...
The goalkeeper?
No.
So it's not, fair enough then.
So that's your guess gone.
Yeah.
Right. You got to give me all the information now, and then it's my guess.
Doesn't get
I'm just
points
going
for
to
this.
tell you.
Oh, okay, go on then.
Let's have a watch. It's Liam Barnett. So, 71st team appearances for Luton Town before making the switch to West Bromwich Albion for a massive £2.5 million. Played in the Premier League, scored in the Europa League, and now running the very successful football academy. I'm delighted to welcome to our Christmas special today, Liam Barnett. How you doing?
Yes, not too bad. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Oh, fantastic. Can't wait for the big day itself. It should be good fun. Thanks for coming on to our Christmas podcast. Let's just get straight into it. You joined Luton in 2002, I believe?
Yeah, something like that. My memory's quite old, so I'm not too sure what the dates are. But yeah, that sounds about right.
What was it like when you signed professional contract with Luton Town?
Yeah, no, I was delighted. Obviously, my home club, and obviously being a young kid, being from Luton, that's all you wanted to do, really. You wanted to sort of play for your home club, and I don't know, there was a lot of hard graft that probably people didn't see. But yeah, it was obviously worth it in the end, and yeah, I'm thankful for sort of the people that put it in place, and yeah, I was never sort of going to turn down the opportunity to sign professional anyway. So yeah.
How old was you exactly? I can't remember exactly. You must know how old you were in 2002.
Yeah, so I would have been 16.
16,
So
wow.
yeah, quite very young. Bearing in mind, obviously, I've just left school, played reserves, played youth team football in 1 year. So yeah, it was very fortunate. I think the timing was on my side as well, and yeah, a bit of luck and timing is always nice.
Do you remember your debut?
Yeah, vaguely. I remember sort of being on the bench. I think it might have been a bit against Woking or Stevenage. I'm not too sure, but I remember they wore sort of a red and white kit. And I remember Marvin Johnson was told, obviously, he's gonna come off. I think it was his last game, and I think it was Mike. Was it Mike? It might have been Mike Newell at the time. I'm not 100% sure, but he obviously gave me the wave and said, "You're coming on for Marv," which obviously, as a Luton legend, I think everybody knows what he's done in the past. To come on for him, and at the time he was my youth team manager, was sort of unbelievable. Like I said, make your debut and obviously come on for a legend is double surprising.
When I was watching you playing football, I was always confident you would do the job you needed to do. I mean, I've seen you play for Luton, probably not all the 70 times, but most of them. Can you pick out a game that really sticks out for you when you was playing for Luton?
Yeah, and I remember a few games. Probably the one that probably sticks out to me is obviously I'm not sure what season, but it was the game when we played Leicester live on Sky Sports. It was the first game of the season, and just I don't know, the whole hype around the whole game itself, and I think it was one of my first starts in the league, and yeah, I think it all just fell into place. I managed to score after 12 minutes from a corner, so that's probably the one that stands out for me. There are quite a few that I could obviously name, but I don't know. First thing, since that's probably the one that sort of sticks out in my memory.
So, did you just say you scored from a corner?
No, sorry. So
I just thought.
No, so I can't remember his first name, but Emmanuel. I think he crossed it from the right hand side, left-footed in swinger. And I remember just sort of sitting on the edge of the box, just sort of waiting to attack it because we've been practicing set pieces sort of the whole week because obviously it was a big game. We've been pressing set pieces, and my job was obviously start on the edge of the box and then just dart in with the rest of the players and be aggressive and try and win the first contact. And yeah, luckily enough, he found me in the box and it kind of hit my head and went top in. So yeah, I was delighted obviously how it finished. Yeah, I think if you've seen the pictures, you'd know how happy I was.
Well, I'm going to look them up, and I'm sure that our editor might just put them in to see how it goes. At the moment, obviously, Luton Town are having a fantastic season in the Premier League for the first time, and it's as a supporter, it's great fun to be there. But you've played in the Premier League, and you played. What was it like for you?
Yeah, like I said, I think I've sort of spoken to a lot of boys, especially the boys in my academy, about sort of always setting targets. So when I signed for Luton at the age of 13, that was one of my targets, and obviously it was to get a youth team contract and obviously first team contract in Premier League. So that was all. Like it was always an ambition of mine. I didn't know whether I was going to do it or not, but when I did get there, it was sort of eye-opening in terms of the way that other teams set up and play, the stadiums, the players that you play against, the managers. It was all sort of a great experience that sort of no one can take away from me. But I loved every minute of it. Like I said, as a kid, you watch the Premier League on the TV and these superstars that are in the Premier League, and I think it's the best league in the world. So yeah, with all that sort of coming at me, it was quite a lot. But like I said, I loved every minute of it.
When you look back at your time in the Premier League, who was the hardest player you come up against, do you think?
So when I was playing, I think we had Drogba, we had Lampard, Gerrard, Torres. There are quite a few people that played in the Premier League when I was playing there. I remember I was on the bench when Ronaldo started, and I thought I was going to start the game, but it was against obviously Man United under the lights on a Tuesday night. Like I said, I was a little bit disappointed I didn't start. So that would have been nice to play against Ronaldo. But I think the one that probably stands out for me is probably Luis Suarez when he was at Liverpool. He was just unbelievable. I think anytime he sort of had the ball, he'd look for the nutmegs, and it would sort of not always come off, but it always ricocheted into his path. Strong. I wouldn't say I underestimated him, but I think he had a lot of power that probably people didn't think he would have had. Read the game really well. Couldn't really give him a chance. So yeah, I think for me personally, like I said, there was a lot of people that I played against, but he was number one for me.
So you did you keep him in your pocket at all?
I wouldn't say that in so many words. I think if you look back at sort of Norwich's games against Liverpool, it's never sort of a one goal thriller. It's normally quite a lot of goals. So I wouldn't say I kept him in my pocket so much. No,
there's not many people that get that experience of playing in the Premier League as you did from where you started at Luton Town and ending up at West Brom and then Norwich. Could you ever imagine that Luton Town would have made the Premier League? And was you at Wembley or anything when we made it there?
Yeah, just going back to what I said about being a kid, I think I've always seen Luton in the sort of lower leagues, League One, League Two, Division One, as I used to call it, and just never thought they would be sort of in the best league in the world. It's sort of surreal, even at the moment, seeing them sort of line up against some of the best players in the world. So yeah, that was always an ambition I would have loved to achieve. Is obviously playing for my home club in the Premier League, but unfortunately, it's not happened. However, Luton Town at the moment it's massive. Like I said, for the fans, for the community, the players, obviously the staff. It's a massive achievement that the town's obviously achieved, and I think everybody needs to sort of embrace it. I know obviously some people can get disheartened when we play against a top team and maybe get sort of a bit of a hiding. But like I said, I can't remember the last time Luton Town were in the top tier.
Well, that just shows you how old I am, because I do, and I remember 10 years in the old First Division, desperate to stay up there, and then we go to non-league. But getting back to Premier League for me has been amazing, and the fun we've had watching Luton Town, regardless of results, has been amazing, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Do you think there's a lot of difference between now in the Premier League and when you were in the Premier League? Because there's lots more money available, and do you think sides are a lot stronger?
Yeah, I do. I think the game's evolving sort of year in, year out. I mean, you just have to look at the price tag for players, and I don't want to sort of boast or say anything about that. But also, I moved from Luton to Wigan. I think it was 2.5, rising to 3 million. I remember back then that was not quite a lot of money, but that was a reasonable price. That, people, not many clubs could afford that. But now there's players going for 100 million, which is it's hard to believe. Like even like Alan Shearer went for 15 million, and look back now, it's a bit of a bargain. But like I said, the game's changing in terms of the money, the structure, the way that they play. But yeah, I think it is obviously changing for the better. However, I'm not really a fan of VAR. So I don't know. Obviously, I think people have their opinions on VAR. I don't know if you want mine or not. But
let's have it, because we have this conversation every week when we for me personally, when we're at the stadium, and you don't know what's going on. Television viewers can see everything. It's too complicated. If you have to look at something for 5-6 minutes, it's not a clear and obvious mistake, is it?
No, definitely not. And I think football's known for sort of a fast action, high tempo game. It's sort of non-stop as well. And I think with obviously goal line technology, I think that probably should be in. I think obviously if you lose, if your opponent score one goal and it hasn't crossed the line, you can obviously benefit from that. Obviously for 3 points or even the 1 point. But VAR for me, I think sitting down in a stadium as a fan, not knowing what's going on, and as a player, I can understand, as soon as the ball goes over the line, you're celebrating. But then again, while you're celebrating, you're looking at the linesman, whether it's a goal, then you're sort of walking back towards the halfway line, and you've got to wait for, the reaction from the referee. He might sort of see a push that's, nothing to do with you. I think it's all a bit too much for me personally. But yeah, obviously, I think there's been games where, I don't know, I'd like to think VAR should never get it wrong, because obviously they have the luxury of replaying the incidents and drawing the offsides. If you're off by a toenail or I don't know, a hair, then you should be offside. But I don't know, for me it's taking too long, and I think it's taking the fun factor out of football. Like I said, football's known for a non-stop game.
On the terracing, it does take it away. You know, you're celebrating a goal, and then the next minute, you're not. VAR, possible offside, possible handball. How far do they take it back? I'm totally with you on that, Leon. It's totally. I think it's ruined football a bit. To be fair, I think.
I'd agree with you. Like I said, just slowing down the game. I mean, it can't be good for the players in terms of when you're sort of maybe putting a team under pressure, and you've got to wait for a possible penalty decision. You know, you lose your momentum. Really, you sort of have to sort of rally the boys up to get going and obviously try and keep concentrating. But I don't know. Like I said, I've got a lot of opinions on it. I don't think it's beneficial for the game. I think a lot of people are probably going into work on the Monday morning talking about the VAR decisions instead of maybe the great goal that maybe someone scored, or the Man United game that we saw last week, or the Chelsea City game. You know, I think we're sort of taking out the fact of the standard of football we're playing, not the actual incidents that were coming up in the game.
I mentioned at the very beginning that you've also scored in Europe, in a European game. How did that come about?
So obviously when I moved to Wigan, I moved the year after they won the FA Cup. So obviously with that they qualified for the Europa League, which when I had the opportunity to join at Wigan, there was no other choice for me. That was exactly where I wanted to go. And obviously for the other clubs I won't name, but they didn't really stand a chance in my sort of thought process. But just having the opportunity to play in Europe, I mean, who wouldn't? And obviously, like I said, I think I played 4 or 5 games. Loved every minute. I loved the travelling. Loved going to sort of other countries. Loved seeing their different culture, how they play football. Managing to finish off with a goal it's massive. That's probably one of my biggest achievements, I would say.
And was it a good goal? Because I can't remember it, if I'm honest. I have to be honest.
I remember a little bit of it. I remember sort of, I don't know, it was a bit like Wigan's first goal. It sort of, I think it come to the edge of the box and I just smashed it in. Love it. Yeah, didn't have no thought process in terms of just.
When you say edge of the box, that's at least 18 yards out. So it's a brilliant goal then, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, I would say in and around the penalty area then, I suppose. I think that's probably a bit more precise. But yeah, like I said, I had a chance to shoot. I pulled the trigger and literally shot and tried to get on target, and thankfully it hit the back of the net, and yeah, that's the end of it.
So you come to the end of your football career, and a lot of people go different routes, but you've decided that you're going to put something back, I think, with your academy. How's that going?
Yeah, no, it's our 3rd year. We're doing really well at the moment. We've had a couple of my sort of ex-pros coming in to sort of coach and obviously give them their background. I think it's after a while, I think my voice probably gets a bit tiring and fatigued. So it's nice to have like some of my ex-friends or ex-players that are friends come into the academy and maybe just talk about their experiences, how they were professional, what their background is, their upbringing. It sort of gives other boys that are in that situation something that they can relate to.
And if anybody wants to know a bit more, where can they find out about your academy? Yeah,
so obviously it's on our website. You can simply Google it. I won't go through the website address, but we run a campus at Cranfield, which is close to Bedford, and the other one is in Wixham's, which is sort of on my doorstep. So we've got 2 campuses at the moment. It's just obviously giving 16 to 18-year-olds, college boys, an opportunity to obviously carry on with their education, which is very important, and also play football. And I think the sort of carrot there is obviously be coached by an ex-player myself. So not many kids or students or players get the opportunity to do that. And I think it's probably nice to sort of help the general public and football lovers like myself to sort of excel their careers as far as possible.
Well, that's a fantastic thing to say. If anybody's watching, they can get inspired. They can go onto the website, find out about you guys, and maybe they become the next professional footballer for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great opportunity. I think to play football and do something you love and still have education is key.
Leon, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Love the fact that you love Christmas as much as we do. Thank you for coming on, and I wish you well for the future. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you soon.
So, how was that one?
That was good. That was good. I was surprised. Obviously, didn't have any idea who it was going to be. So good stuff. You're laughing at my ears, aren't you? Yeah, my ears always go round to the front of my head after a glass of red wine. It's a family thing. It's always happened.
Fair enough. Slightly weird.
Leon Barnett, what a nice crate. It was really good to talk to him, and it was just brilliant what he said, right?
It is. And the one thing I remember about Leon Barnett was when he was playing for Norwich, and it was the FA Cup game when we were non-league, and Scott Rindle put the goal away.
Oh, what a day that was. What a day
Chaos.
that was.
Sorry, what?
Absolute chaos that day. However, Alex Lawless cleared one off the line, and they were claiming it was a goal. It had gone over the line, and it was a bit of a melee,
Barnett.
and that was Leon Barnett.
God, why didn't I remember that when I was talking to him?
Probably because
Steve, how do you remember it? That's the what I'm trying to ask you.
Because I was drunk at the time, but I've looked back and seen it on
Steve, you drunk at the time. I can't believe it.
And he remembers.
Someone spiked my shandy. Yeah, it's outrageous.
Oh dear. I love what he said, but again, I did task you guys to get an interview, and you didn't. I mentioned I got all 4 this time, and okay, we're going to move on to the second one, and the second one is a player that, Batara, you might even guess this one because you said, "Have I interviewed a goalkeeper?"
Oh, okay, it's Andy Dibble, is it?
No,
Is it Andy Dibble?
no. We've had,
fair enough then.
Do you know what, Batara? Was you here last year?
I think so.
Physically
Think so.
as well as
Mentally,
up here,
probably
yeah.
not. No.
Last
Physically, in person.
Last year, I interviewed the 1988 Man of the Match Cup winner, Andy Dibble. This year, I decided I would go for the 2009 JPT final goalkeeper.
Oh, that's Brill.
Oh, mate, Dean Brill.
It was brilliant.
Hey,
It's
did
totally
you see
brilliant.
what I did?
Yeah,
You
I was
see it?
trying to ignore it, to be fair.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
Because I will just keep saying it
Yeah, I know.
until I get some sort of recognition.
Let's have a look at Dean Brill and let's see how he goes.
Oh, go on then.
Welcome to the Christmas podcast. Dean Brill, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. I'm just looking at your career and looking at your football career, and I noticed that you started at a very early age. How did you end up starting at Luton Town?
So I was playing locally for Crawley Green in Luton, and as every young footballer, you get scouted, and these days it's much more. And there's scouts at every single game across the country, but back then I was scouted as a few other players in my team were, and went to a Luton training centre at 10, and that was it. The rest was history, really.
10 years old. I read on the internet that there was an interest from Liverpool. Is that true? And if that's so, why did you choose Luton Town over Liverpool? Was it just because it's your local club?
The interest from Liverpool and some other clubs come probably as I got a little bit older. But yeah, Luton Town was my local club. Like I said, some 3 or 4 of the lads that I played with at Crawley Green were at Luton, and I think it's important, and being in football development now, that young players are comfortable, and I was certainly comfortable around Luton. I used to go and watch them regularly, and like I said, because my friends were playing there as well, it was an easy win for me.
So you support Luton Town, and then suddenly you're playing at Kenilworth Road. What did that feel like the first time you got between the sticks at the Kenny?
I think it was Wickham. I think I played at home. We won 3-1 at Wickham.
Yeah.
I was so young. I was only 17. It was incredible. I remember when I was even younger, I used to go and do the penalty shootouts on the pitch.
Yeah.
So at half time, there was a penalty shootout, and I'd be this little 12, 13-year-old going in goal for a penalty shootout. So I'd had a little bit of experience.
Wow.
But I think the more and more I played, the more and more I became aware of how special it was to play for my hometown club.
Do you know, you're living every supporter's dream there, aren't you? And, and I look back at your career and I look at the times you played for Luton. So I've seen you play many times for Luton Town. One of those that really stick in my mind is when we got promoted to the Championship from League One. And we trot off up to Crystal Palace. at Selhurst Park, and it's absolutely jam packed with Luton, and we put in a performance that day. Do you remember anything about that game at all?
I do. And funny enough, I wasn't starting that game. We were in the warm-up and Marlon Beresford dislocated his finger.
Right.
And I remember it vividly. It was right at the end of our warm-up. Marlon popped his finger out and the physio come running over, and Marlon went back inside and they come running back out to me, and I was continuing up just the preparation, and they went, "Marlon's not going to play, you're going to play." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It was a nice sunny day at Crystal Palace. I had about 5 minutes to warm up. And we were brilliant that day. I think we won 2-1, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was 2-1. It was a fantastic day.
Yeah.
Do you remember making any decent saves? Because we was up against, they were Premier League. They'd just been relegated. I think Johnson was playing for them at that time.
Johnson, John Mackham, I think, was the centre forward. I played Joby McAnuff, who I played with at Leyton Orient. He was my captain. I think Emerson Boyce might have even played for Palace that day.
Yeah, I think he may have.
So I just remember us playing really well. I think they scored from a corner, Andy Johnson, a knockdown off a corner. But I remember we were really good and just signed a few players. And I think it was Dean Morgan's first game. I believe we went on quite a good run at the start of the season as well. And it's
fabulous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 games, and it was like you say, we're back in the Championship. I think we went on to Leeds and Southampton, and it was an amazing start. And like I say, I wasn't due to be playing, and bit of luck and got me into the team.
I was there that day, and I remember vividly the celebrations, because no one thought, and this has happened for this season that we're currently in as well. No one thought little Luton Town would do anything at Crystal Palace because they were Premier League and we were former League One, and we've had that this season. Have you been to any games this season?
No, I haven't. It's like gold dust getting tickets. Yeah. No, I haven't. You know what? I'm busy with work, and I watch on the telly, and my little boy who's 4. He started to watch now, and he wants to know the Luton scores. So no, I haven't been down yet, but I shall be trying to get down in the new year.
How are you making out with Luton's progress so far? If you watched some of their games, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's brilliant. It's fantastic. I think they're doing everybody proud, themselves, the fans, the history of the club, and I think people are really starting to take notice that they're not just there for the fun of it. They're really giving people, the other night was a prime example. They're giving people a run for their money, and they're not far off putting together 2 or 3 really, really good results. So I think they've surprised a lot of people. Can
you imagine now where Luton Town are? For the moment of the glory day for you in 2009 was the bit where we got relegated out of the league. Not that wasn't the glory bit, by the way. No. The glory bit at Wembley Stadium, and to where we are now. Let's talk about the JPT final for a bit. As an experience, I suppose as a supporter, 40,000 of us at the stadium that day, it was unbelievable. Despite all the crap the club were going through, what's it like walking out of that tunnel and seeing that wall of orange at one end?
Insane. It was incredible. Do you know what the biggest memory for me is? The halftime walkout. So before the game, you're obviously tuned in and you walk out, and it's Wembley and it's a big day. But for me, I remember the second half walking out, because the first half we had the Luton fans behind me. Yeah. And the second half I walked out, and as I turned right, and as I jogged to the goal, and you turn around, and that's when I noticed the big wall of orange. Yeah. I didn't really see it first half, but second half was one of them moments where that was surreal. It was, even when I watch games on the telly now, I don't feel like the colour, the vibrancy, the energy. It was magic. It was magical. It was a really magical day.
When you think back to the game and just think what position Luton Town were in at that point, we're about to get relegated through no fault of our own. We're not fancied to win the game, and we're in front, and it's getting towards the end of the match, and then that strike goes in. I don't care who you are as a goalkeeper, you're not stopping that, are you? How did you feel when that went in?
Yeah, it was a great hit. It was a great hit. We were soaking up some pressure, and I felt we were fine, and obviously it was a fantastic hit. And I remember diving for it and thinking, I am nowhere near this. And then obviously you hear the supporters behind you, and you look at the faces of the boys as you hit the ground, and you see people around you. But well, we were tough. We were tough, and Luton Town are a tough club, and as everybody knows, we fought back.
Yeah, don't want to dwell on the goal though, because like I say, the best goalkeeper in the world, and I'm not saying he wasn't the best goalkeeper in the world, but no one would have said that. Is there any particular moment in the game that you felt I did that kept us in it?
I don't think I had loads to do. I think there was one save in the first half down to my left. It was pretty routine, but I actually don't think we were under that much. We were under pressure, but I don't ever feel like the goal was under that much threat. It was actually probably one of the quieter games, which I tend to think finals are. They're a little bit cagey, a little bit. They didn't really threaten us, and it was going to take something like that, I think, to change the game.
I was devastated when they scored because we were so close to winning the game.
Yeah.
Extra time beckons, and we go 3-2 up. Again, you're keeping our end at that point. So again, I ask people this all the time that I know that work pitch side. When 40,000 people cheer a goal in, it must sound different where you are from where we are. It was amazing.
It sounds like it's inside your head.
Wow.
It's a bizarre way to describe it, but it feels like it's all around you. It's inside your head, and I think you get lost in the emotion as well. So your noise that comes out of you, because there's a few pictures I've got of myself screaming at the moment we scored and stuff like that. I think it's just a cacophony of noise just all around you and in your head. It was crazy, and then obviously the emotion waves over you as well, and there's a realization of like, wow, like we're back in front, like we can do this.
What you boys achieved that day, for a lot of people was significant in the club's development, I think, because it was like a finger up to the FA and the Football League. I remember looking over to where the box was, where all our directors are sitting. I'm just thinking, we tried so hard to keep this club in the Football League. We deserve something like this. I suppose that's it's predictive, but is that your biggest highlight, playing football at Wembley Stadium, winning a trophy? Because it was a decent trophy to win. We were not expected to beat a team higher up in the league than us. So is that one of your best moments, or the best moment of your career, or have you got something?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that definitely make it that. The fact that the troubles that we've been through, not just that year, but the 2 or 3 years previous, it had been some really going from the Championship that we discussed earlier all the way down to the bottom. Like, I went through all of that. The administrations, the changes of players, the changes of managers, the fact that it was my hometown, and the fact that I had all my friends and family there.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of people, and who I still speak to. I mean, you only have to walk around the corner and someone remembers the Johnson Paint Trophy, and they were there. Oh, you was there? Yeah, I was there. And I think, that certainly makes it probably the greatest achievement in my career. Yeah. And
definitely living the dream, playing for your local club, playing for a club that you probably support. It couldn't be any better than that for me either. What are you up to now? Because obviously you're still in some sort of football role, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm currently head of academy goalkeeping at Tottenham.
Wow. Okay.
So I joined Tottenham 2.5 years ago. So I've been working. I work with daily alongside the under-21s and the under-18s group predominantly.
Wow.
But I'm in charge of creating a program and trying to develop the next Tottenham goalkeeper.
Well, that's a bit of a task, I would imagine, for a team that high up in the league right now.
It's a big task. I mean, we know what the Premier League's like. Obviously, Luton know what it's like, and it's an international league now. And these top clubs can go and spend. Well, I mean, we just spent £20 million on an Italian goalkeeper in the summer. So
wow.
My task is tough. We've had Hugo Lloris here for the last 12 years. Won a World Cup. So to produce an English goalkeeper for Tottenham is obviously my ultimate goal in my role, but it's a tough job and tough ask.
If you produce a good England goalkeeper for Tottenham, he'll be England goalkeeper. So hope that works out, because that helps us all, doesn't it?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's the achievement.
Christmas in your household, is it same as everybody else? Is it a turkey dinner, or is it presents early? How do you go about your dinner?
Yeah, so I've got 2 young kids now. I've got a 4-year-old little boy who's football daft now. So we're playing some kind of football around the house, I'd expect, and an 8-year-old little girl. So we'll all open our presents in the morning. And actually, this year we're heading around to mum's, and I'm one of 5, and they've all got kids as well. So mum's house will be
Full
pretty carnage, but good fun.
Oh, well, listen, I thank you for taking the time out for talking to me today. I know it's a brief one. I hope you and your family have a fantastic Christmas. It's been nice chatting to you about your memories at Luton Town.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, and Merry Christmas to all you Luton fans out there.
Dean Brill, what a nice guy he was to talk to, and some of the memories that he gave to us about the JPT final, Steve, it was fantastic, wasn't it?
It just really brought it all back. I mean, it was that sunny day in a shitty winter with the inevitable outcome, I'm afraid. And no, it was brilliant. I wasn't too sure about his background before Luton. He's clearly Luton through and through, and it was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, what a day. But that Grant McCann shot, you spoke about it with him. The second it left his boot, because he was a beautiful footballer, particularly at that level. As soon as it left his boot, it's almost like 42,000 Luton fans were,
whip.
Christ's sake.
It was so sad at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was the one that went top corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it was a good goal. There's no way you could have stopped it.
You're right, it was absolutely unstoppable. But the winner, that winning goal, apart from Tom Craddock's head slap, just silly boy. But that burst of pace from Claude, just to get to the ball, that last 5-yard bosh, and then you just lift it over.
And that ball from Keane, I believe, was it?
I have to say, though, he generally thought the game was over then, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't, was it?
No.
Oh, it was such a brilliant day. And Dean Brill, so nice to talk to, and he had an absolute joy of playing for Luton Town. You could tell that from what he was talking
about. Absolutely, you could tell. And again, that day, I think it helped us through an awful lot of the dark days. That was one of the days that you held on to and thought,
of course.
This is what we're going to be striving for again.
Yeah, because we did what... Go on.
Like I was about to say, what I remember obviously us getting relegated into the football, to the non-league, and then sort of thinking, doom and gloom, and all of a sudden, I've got a final to look forward to now. And obviously, so be it. We went and lifted it.
And they were a very good League One side.
I think they got promoted that season.
At the time, they were top. They were a top side. I would say for us, you're looking at the impending doom. So I think we got relegated like the week after.
Yeah.
Having supported the town as much as long as I have, and I know you guys are supporting them long as well, but not as long as me because I'm old. It was
me.
No. It was it was depressing. It was depressing to think we're going non-league. There's no way we're going to stay non-league, and we know what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But that day was just a moment of absolute joy. I remember Mick Harford down the touchline doing the Eric Morecambe thing, and stuff like that. It was such a brilliant day, wasn't it?
And singing more Winnie the Pooh as well at the start of the game.
There is something I need to mention right now. Is Bataro, what's happened to your hair?
Where are those long golden locks gone?
I know. Well, time for change, wasn't it? So had to be done. It was a bit dead, but although they did donate it to charity, so I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, no, that'll all be put forward to a good use. But you've lost half your strength.
I have, mate.
If you're going down the Samson route, mate, you're a proper weakling now. I might have a go at you.
Yeah, no, my legs did give way last night as well down the stairs, so it might explain something. Although that might be due to something else, actually.
Yeah.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll notice that the cheese ball has been absolutely demolished.
Wasn't us, though.
Nah, your wife, both your wives came in.
I was going to say, we've got some naughty elves in the house, and they've been largely responsible for it. Okay. I mean, is this the body of a cheese eater?
Yes.
Pataro?
Probably, I'd say more burgers with cheese, but it's in there somewhere.
Oh dear, it's chaos. It's literally chaos.
Speak with them.
Third interview of that. Have I mentioned that you two have not had one interview? Next year, you need to do some.
Bataro, I'll interview you.
I was going to say, should we interview each other?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll make it more entertaining though.
Because
we'll do it naked.
This time next year, we'll be celebrities.
So, here we go. Oh dear. It's the alcohol, folks, I'll tell you.
Excuse me, it's San Miguel Blue.
It's Christmas.
And to be fair, I'm on Foster's, mate.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah, that's
alcohol.
not
I was going to say that there's
I've
more in
only
a
had
can of
one.
top deck.
That's what happens when I've got the boy overnight.
Yeah.
I have to drink a couple of Fosters and nothing else.
Move on.
That sounds awful, doesn't it?
Move on.
Keep going.
Move on.
You've really put me off. So, next interview. I need you to think about a cup tie that we were playing. And we were away, and it was a really tense night.
Dave, quick question. Was I born at this stage?
I don't know.
So therefore I might be literally out of the equation here.
Yeah,
so.
you weren't born. You was created in a lab.
Right, true.
How old are you?
I am. How old am I? Oh, 29.
29.
Yeah.
So, we had an away game. It was a Tuesday night. It was the Worthington Cup, I think.
Oh, yeah. I'm having no hope here, have I? I've got no hope.
I think I might struggle, but
It was at Vicarage Road.
okay.
And somebody scored a glorious goal. I spoke.
Was it 2-2 that night?
No, we won the game, fella.
2-1.
And Matt Springs scored
Yeah.
a glorious goal.
2003.
Well, thank you very
Hang on,
much.
was that the Worthington Cup, was it, back in 2003?
I don't know, but I know it's 2003.
It was
I
the
remember,
League
I know the
Cup.
goal, yeah. I
Did
was going to
say
say,
the
mate.
It was the league. It doesn't matter what it was.
Dave, it does, because when you're giving out clues like that and they're false, clearly.
Yeah, false.
then,
Yeah. It's
It
like
does matter.
it's like the cryptic clue on a crossword. It means nothing. Like Ted Rogers 3-2-1.
here's the
It's just
enigma, yeah.
full of rubbish.
Right. For the young people, 3-2-1, Ted Rogers. No idea. Matt Spring, I had a chat with him, and you know what? It was brilliant. Matthew Spring, how nice to see you. Thank you for coming on to the Christmas podcast this year.
No, not a problem. Thanks for having me. It's nice to get out there and have a little chat now and again. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Talk to me about how you ended up at Luton Town. I was you the schoolboy, weren't you, when you came to Luton? You in the schoolboy team?
Yeah, well, yeah, strange for me really. I was like, I was quite late on. I wasn't one of these in academies from like the age of 8, 9, 10. Still playing Sunday League football at 15. Happened to play a school's district game against Luton boys at Harpenden. I was playing for Hertfordshire. And the youth team manager, Terry Wesley, was watching the game. I think back in the day, the Whiteys then used to go to college on a Thursday daytime and then train on Thursday evening. So I think this day, for some reason, he decided to take them to watch a game. So it ended up being that game. And he spoke to my parents after the game and asked what I was doing, blah, 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 blah. Does he want to come down and have a little look around, blah, 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 have a little play. And then it went from there, really.
And the rest is, as they say, history, isn't it?
But all very, because I was probably 15 and a half then, and then I made my debut in the first team 2 years later.
Yeah,
so
Bristol City, I think it was. Bristol City away?
Bristol City away, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't win that one. I think we lost that game. But at 17 years old, it's unbelievable that you make the first team of a professional football team. That's fantastic. Was it 17? Was it 17, 18?
We were down to bare bones though that day. I think we were 4-0 down at half time when I come on.
But you still got on. How did it feel when you actually got on that pitch? Did you feel any different to what you normally would, or you just think, "Oh my God, I've made it a bit here"?
No, you don't think like that. You don't think any of that. For me, it's funny. I was talking about this the other day. You just want to play football.
Yeah.
So for me, I know people looking in and think, no, it's not just another game. Or it's just nothing. But at the end of the day, it's just for me. I don't want to say it's work. It's just a game of football. That's what you love doing. So that's what you want to do. So it didn't really bother me that it was a first team game or anything really.
You moved out from the FA Youth Cup games when you was in the team that got to the FA Youth Cup semi-finals, and then you sort of moved through that. So that was a bit of a journey. How would you describe? I know how I would describe you as a player, but how would you describe yourself as a player?
Oh, good question. How do I describe myself as a player? I don't know. I've never really thought of that, to be honest. How would I describe myself as a player? Obviously, I like to. I think I had good energy. I think I had good energy. I could get up and down. I could score a goal every now and again. I didn't mind a tackle. So yeah, I would say I was my passing was okay. Didn't really give the ball away that much. So I think a little bit. I was kind of okay at everything. Do you know what I mean? I didn't probably stand out at just one thing. I think my whole game was I was okay at everything really.
Okay, everything. I would say that.
But it's a good question. I've never been asked that question. It's a great question.
Oh,
it is a very, very good question.
And it really is a thing. But when you look at former games and you see how much the game has changed from when you were playing to now, it's changed a lot up at that level. At Luton Town, you're right. We're bare bones at times, and I don't know how well the club was run at that time, but it was an era where we were doing okay-ish sometimes. That's how I looked at it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think for a few years, just getting by. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A few seasons we were getting by. A lot of players coming in, a lot of players going out. Probably managers, especially that sticky period where we went through a few managers, didn't we, at times, and then the team. I think, and then when Joe Kinnear come in, and Mick, the team was very young as well.
Yeah.
I went from an experienced, probably everyone over. When I come into the team, probably everyone over, I would say 25, apart from one or two.
Yeah.
Steve Davis, Gary Waddock, David Oldfield, Mitchell Thomas, Marvin Johnson, Graham Alexander.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of types. Paul Schowler, all them kind of players. All older, experienced guys, and then a couple of young ones dotted around. But then when Joe come in, I think we were all my youth team. I think there was not 7 of my youth team were playing in that team.
Wow.
And the youth team above, which was Liam George, Steve Augustine, that age, Matty Upson, that kind of age.
All these players you keep mentioning, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, I remember watching all you guys playing and standing on that terrace. And there's many a game that stands out for us, but we can't talk tonight or today and not mention that goal that every Luton fan who was at that stadium that night. And I know we're not going to talk about allegiances with Watford and Luton, because I know you play for Watford. And do you know what? When you Google your own name, if you haven't done it already, the third thing down says Watford legend, which disappoints me just a little bit. But anyway, have you never done that? You never Googled yourself?
No, I've never Googled myself, no.
But you will when we finish this one, right?
Yeah, I'll have a little show.
It says Watford
legend.
legend.
You told me now, I don't need to.
No. Can we talk about that goal? I think, before we went live, I just wanted to touch on one thing, and the kit. The kit was huge on everyone. And I look back at it and think, they just didn't do your sizes? Because it just looked like it just didn't fit anyone.
I can't even remember the make of the kit, but I can remember that the kit was really thick.
Yeah, it
was a really thick kit as well. But yeah, if you look at you watch that game or any game that season, the kit was massive. It was like your underarms were down.
Yeah,
here.
It was like you was wearing.
It was like a Chinese gown or Japanese Odo thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so baggy. But yeah, it was just one. And to be fair, that night we wore blue, didn't we? We wore blue shorts because they wore black.
And we had white shirts.
So we didn't normally wear the blue shorts with it. I think did we wear blue socks as well? I think we wore blue socks as well.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. I was at that game. I was at that game, and it was a tetchy atmosphere, wasn't it, when we got there?
Well, it was a madness before the game even started.
Yeah.
So because I think, was it delayed?
Yeah, it was
delayed.
Sure.
It might have been delayed for a bit as well.
Bit of crowd trouble, which I'm not condoning.
Yeah, because obviously we were warming up at the time, and then I'm looking over, and there's like people on the pitch and everything.
Yeah, I was. So, does that make you feel a bit different about playing, or do you understand? Obviously, you played for Luton, so you understood the rivalry there. Does it make a difference when you go out there thinking these fans don't want us to let them down right now?
No, I think no. That doesn't like anything. Like I said before, when you make your debut, you don't focus on that. You're focusing on the football. But don't get me wrong. I suppose things at times go through your head when you are. And I'd say if there's a lull in the game, like if there's an injury or something, and you're standing around and you're, for example, so when I made my debut, I think 2 weeks later. I don't know if you remember this one, Darren. We were 4-0 down after 35 minutes for Watford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah. And I'm sitting on the bench thinking, I want to come on. But I understand now why Lenny Lawrence didn't put me on.
Yeah.
Because of that situation. Do you know what I mean? He was more because he pulled me after and did have a little word with me about going on in an atmosphere in that game when you're 4-0 down. Do you know what I mean? So that was probably the only time when I actually thought about the crowd more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If we talk about your goal, firstly, is it the best goal you've ever scored? Please say yes. And if it wasn't, what was? But I'm sure it is. That's a silly question, isn't it? Is it the best goal? Do you think it's?
I've got three others. One probably doesn't count because it was pre-season.
Okay.
I was playing, so that obviously my Watford goal. But let's talk about two others. I was at Leyton Orient at the time.
Yeah. It
was a pre-season game against Cambridge, and I think it is on the internet. If you do go on YouTube, Cambridge. I think it's Cambridge, Leyton Orient pre-season. I've scored from inside my own half.
Oh, that's impressive.
That was probably my only one. Technically, that's probably the only other. Oh, sorry. This probably doesn't count because it's semi-pro football. I was playing for Hemel at the time, and the ball's been put in the channel. I am on the halfway line, right in the centre. The goalie's come out to the right-hand side of the box because the ball's gone in the channel. He's scuffed the ball into the middle of the pitch. I chested it and half-volleyed it straight back in the goal.
Oh, right. Nice one.
And that again, if you have a little look, that's against Gospel. That's on the internet. That's on YouTube as well. But going back to the Watford goal, that's probably the biggest. The best. It's still talked about now. And what was it? 20 years ago now.
2002. It was 2002. It's crazy. I just before we came on, I watched it back because I've watched it several times. I was there on the night. I couldn't believe you put it so precisely into the net. So quick as well. But the thing I was thinking, if VAR was about today, that goal wouldn't have counted. I mean, the two challenges.
100%. Hughes's tackle, Hughes's 2-footed tackle to get it going, it would have been disallowed.
Yeah. But you were tackled originally, I think, and I thought the Watford guy had 2 feet out as well. It was like 50 feet.
Yeah. So it's a tackle against me, then then Hughesy comes in, flattens us both. Then the ball pops up. I played it round to Howie. Howie gives it back, and I score.
Was your intention run, shoot? Can you remember? Was it just like I think I can get it in from here, or was it just hitting home?
No, it's just instinct. Isn't it? There's no one else around, was there? No. I'm the furthest forward player, and I thought I ain't going to go. I can't run. I ain't quick enough to run past 4 defenders or whatever, or the 2 people in front of me. So you just whack it, see what happens.
It was honestly on the terracing that night. It was just a release of amazement, and I love the way that once it went in, you came running up to us at the other end.
Yeah, the other end. Then thought, hold on, these lot are a bit crazy. Then only got to the 18-yard box, then kind of curled back round.
It is a glorious goal. It is a glorious goal, and it happened to be against Watford, which is amazing. Against anyone, it's a glorious goal, but against Watford, even better. And then you set up the second goal for Howard, a nice little push forward, and 2-0 up, and we're having a great time. Were there any better times at Luton for you?
No, probably not. Not obviously. What was the year? Because I'm just trying to think. Was that the year we got promoted? Did we get promoted that year, or was it the year after that?
Right, you're asking an old man to answer that question. I think we had a good cup run that year.
We done okay. We done okay. Now, I'm just trying to think when we beat Swansea, didn't we? To win, was it win 10 in a row to go up that year?
Yeah, lovely, wasn't it? So
I can't remember what year that was. But no, yeah, obviously getting promoted with Luton was a highlight of being there for as long as I was. Do you know what I mean? For the 7-8 years I was there. But yeah, so that was probably the biggest. But then also I had some downs because I had relegations in that as well. Do you know what I mean? So,
but
so that wasn't great.
I think times have changed just a little bit. I think there's been a little bit more, if I can say, loyalty to clubs in the past, gone past. So sort of your era, people stay for a little bit longer sometimes, until either you was moved on or you got an agent who helped you out. And you look back. I've supported this club all my life, and players come, players go. Some players you remember, and you're one that I do remember playing a lot. And that goal in particular was brilliant. But I've seen you play other goals. I'm just going to touch on your moves, because you moved from Luton to Leeds and then Leeds to Watford. Yeah. The Luton Watford thing. As a player, you're right, and we can prove that with our manager right now. You're not the only player that's gone from Luton to Watford, and it probably won't be the last one. Wasn't a factor in your move to there that you'd actually play for Luton. It didn't give you any grief when you got there.
No, well, either way. So when I went to Watford, not really. I didn't get. I think I've been you'll always get a couple that will say stuff or not be happy with it, but in the main, I think when I went to Watford and then went back to Luton from Watford, to be fair, I didn't feel anything, like animosity from the crowd or anything like that when I was playing. I don't know. As I say, I didn't hear anything, or wasn't getting booed or anything when I got the ball. So I think that was the transition from there to Watford to Luton was okay. Do you know what I mean? Well,
in my eyes, you're always going to be a legend for one goal in particular. So that's fantastic. Just before we finish, what about Christmas? What's Christmas in your household like?
What is it like now? The kids are older now, so it's a little bit more chilled out, and there's not as much excitement as when the kids were young. But Christmas is all about a bit of family getting together, eating, drinking. So we don't drink too much in this household, so it's not too bad. But just the food and getting together, I suppose, and enjoying a nice couple of days, as I say, with family.
Listen, I really appreciate your time today and thank you for coming on the podcast. I wish you and your family a massively great Christmas. Right, let's hope Luton give us a nice Christmas present as well. And
a couple of wins, eh? Couple of wins over Christmas.
It's been a real delight talking to you, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for having me. All right, take care.
Matthew Spring. And do you know what? When I say I've enjoyed talking to everyone so far, because you two didn't get interviews this year.
Here he goes again.
Here I go again. However, Matthew Spring, what a goal at Vicarage Road.
It was one of the most outrageous. I can go back well before the tie was played. Me and my wife, we were having our first anniversary.
Are you married?
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I know it took an awful lot of money. Okay, but she relented.
A lot of travelling as well.
Yeah, exactly. Don't talk to me about travelling, Bataro. So, anyway, we were in Greece at the time, and that was when the draw was made, and it came up Luton Watford, and there was a Burnley fan going, "Oh, that's going to be a good one." So, I remember we went to the game. There was this army of decommissioned school buses that turned up at Luton, and there was a police escort all the way up the hard shoulder, when it was a real hard shoulder, not one of these bloody snazzy motorway things. And yeah, it just felt really, really frosty. Really, really frosty.
It was frosty. It was a really, really tense night, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that goal, it would still be going up now. The way he hit it, the way it hit the net, it was just an absolutely majestic shot, and chaos. Absolute chaos ensued.
I didn't have the opportunity to be there, obviously, at the time. Obviously, both of you were there.
Yeah, because we're old.
And, well, of course, but it's a bit gutted that I can't share the same stories.
But right, you have a memory about Matthew Spring, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I was mascot in 2002. against Wigan Athletic. I believe it was a 1-1 draw. And Matty Spring gave me his shirt. And I've still got it to this day.
Brilliant.
Did he sign
And
it?
I don't think he did, actually, no.
Okay.
So you should have, next time, get him on then.
No, but you still got, that's a really good memory to have from being a mascot.
But yeah, no, it was good. I mean, I would have rather Kevin Nichols. No, I'm joking. No, I'm messing with you. But no, it was brilliant, to be fair. He seemed like a good guy. I think he's still the same character. I'm very, what's the word? Bouncy and wired. But yeah, it's obviously what you see from
The thing
him.
is about Matty Spring, when he first started playing regularly, he was getting better and better and better. And he was being scouted, and there was a lot of interest. I think it was from Spurs. There was a lot of interest from Spurs, and it didn't happen. And I think it had a real effect on his game. I think it really hit him quite hard. I'm sure that this is relatively accurate, but he, as he said himself, he was a box-to-box midfielder. He had a really good fitness level, and I remember he scored a couple of absolute beauties for us. There was that goal. He scored an absolute, like a real sort of whipped one at the top corner as well at the Oak Road end one game. Yeah, I know he went down the road and that, but you know, we all make mistakes, don't we?
Yeah, well.
That is true.
None quite like that, though. But, you know, forgive him for that, though. But no, like I say, it's... did he get a move to Leeds as well at the time?
Yeah, he went from Luton to Leeds to Watford
and back to
us.
was it? Yeah.
I know.
That's a weird one.
There can't be... I can't think of anyone else that's done Luton, or the other way round, or, you know, what have you.
Well, I'm sure people will look this up now.
Hatters Heritage.
Yeah,
tell us.
Go for it. Matthew Spring, it was such a brilliant conversation. I really enjoyed talking to him. So we've got one more left.
Very, very unassuming lad, though, wouldn't he?
Unassuming?
Well, most of the things you sort of ask, you go, I've never really thought about that. Whereas, you know, a lot of players, you know, they would probably dissect their career or performances. He seems to have just been, well, I've done it, and then moved on and that.
I was about to say, although I do remember one thing him saying, he said about, obviously, the best goal he'd scored. And he was like, you know, said about,
come on.
You said straight away about Luton, and he was like,
Yeah.
No, I scored a goal in pre-season. I think, come on, mate. No.
Pre-season, schmee-season.
It's definitely the goal against Watford.
It doesn't count.
He's obviously got a couple of mates to support Watford, and that sort of thing is, so yeah. We'll
Can I take this moose off the side of my head? It's really doing my nutting.
Why?
Dave, could you get some sort of control over this? Come on.
Okay, last interview's coming up right now. This is a guy that we all know, former podcast.
Is it like a West Coast podcast, is it?
Former podcast presenter of Oh When the Town. I had a chat with Luke.
Hey!
Boo! So, welcome back to Luke.
Hello.
Sitting on the other side of the table. How's it going?
It's weird. It's like we've swapped roles, haven't we?
We've totally swapped roles.
It's good to be back,
Well, thank you for coming.
even if it's only brief, but it's good to be back.
What was it like when we got to the playoff final? How did you feel then? Not being on the terrace, but being pitch side.
Do you know what? Everyone always asks me as a Luton fan, when you're pitch side and when you're working, and do you get to cheer? How would you not cheer? But I don't know. I think something in me now is just you remain professional to do your job, but you kind of still do have a little bit of a bit of a fist pump or something. But
A little bit of a fist pump.
a little bit
Now,
of a fist pump, yeah.
if anybody's watching, they go back to YouTube and they watch the penalties back at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
And they zoom into that right-hand post where you were sitting. That was more than a fist bump when we scored there, when they missed the penalty.
I think we put the footage out actually on Twitter, but I've cut it just before I go mad with the camera. I was gone. I don't know where I was gone. When that penalty goes over, it was so much emotion, and I think I just went running, and then I think I cried and went around pitch side, and I just remember thinking, I can't believe we've done this.
Have you got a favourite piece? Because obviously the final bit that you did had a few views, but is there something that you think, that's an outstanding piece of work?
Well, the story of the club over the last 10, 15 years, when we got promoted and it hit like 6 million impressions on Twitter and nearly 1 million views on YouTube. That was a piece that me and Toby was influenced, and we had Joe who does our Instagram stories now. He did the voiceover, and I don't know, it was a piece that came together really well. When I said it about being emotional at the final, that was like 2 weeks of work. So when it comes to that moment where we are promoted and you get to press post and it goes out and you think, wow, I didn't waste 2 weeks of, because so much stuff like that happens in football. Where there's so much stuff you'll create that only goes out if you win. So yeah, for that piece of work to go out after we won promotion and it gets seen by millions, people reacting to it in America, I loved it. Yeah, it was really, really good fun.
Your documentary you did pre-season at the training camp there.
That's good fun.
It did absolutely show the togetherness there, didn't it? And I believe you had to sing.
I did have to sing. It was really awkward, actually. But look,
what did you sing?
I sung Enrique Iglesias' Hero. And basically, it was the night we announced we had signed Issa Kabore on loan from Manchester City. So me and my colleague Andrew were just finishing that off, and everyone had already gone out. And it was like final day of tour. And yeah, we headed out to this pizza place. And we were thinking, look, we don't have to sing because, we're the media guys. No one wants to hear us sing. But yeah, Locks and Eli kept on going like, Luke, you're going to sing. And I was just like, oh. And I don't mind singing because I don't mind doing it. But yeah, you have to do it. And a few lads joined in. So it's all right. But colleague Andrew wasn't having it. He wasn't loving it at all.
Did he not sing at all?
No, he sung, just not very well. Sorry, Andrew.
But on Christmas Day itself, up early, take the dogs for a walk.
Yeah, just be the dogs, make some nice food.
Open the gifts.
Bit of amber, yeah, it'll be fun.
And just chill out.
Yeah.
Listen, it's very brief. Thank you very much for coming back.
Oh, wait, before we go, how's the podcast doing? That's what I wanted to know.
Well, I think we're doing okay. I think since I've taken over from you, viewer figures have gone up.
No. Have they? No, I think they should. They probably have, to be fair.
Premier League.
The Premier League numbers are coming in, yeah.
But, I think everybody's still enjoying it. And they genuinely, people do ask me all the time, about yourself and how you're going. And so it's delightful that you've come just to do this little bit with us tonight. I'm enjoying it, and Steve's a good replacement.
Steve's brilliant. I love Steve. I listen when I'm listening now. I'm like, yeah, Steve. You were the voice of reason, but now you're host. But Steve now is like the one that's like, yeah, just he talks and makes me feel a bit confident or excited. And Batari still doesn't sit close enough to the mic. Sorry, mate. Just get a bit closer. But good fun, mate. I love it.
Have a brilliant Christmas. Thank you for coming on. And let's hope we manage to stay in the Premier League for at least another season.
Thank you very much.
Gregory.
Go on, Sam.
When you look back at the Wembley final, and if you see the penalties from the opposite end, from Coventry's view, and you can see Luke standing there, and if you haven't seen this, check it out on YouTube.
When it starts galloping like a little horse.
That's it.
Like a pony.
Yeah, that's right.
That is totally it. I can't remember the guy that missed it now because it does my head in.
Darbo. Darbo. Yeah.
But if you watch that penalty and you can look to the right hand side of the goal, you'll see Luke there with his camera filming for Luton Town, and he misses, and then you see Luke gallop like a pony. It's amazing, isn't it?
But when it's in your blood, when it means the absolute world to you, you've invested so much time.
Yeah, that's it.
Your parents, your parents' money, and the emotions. But when you've invested all that, it's just a natural reaction, and it's great. I know because Luke's really professional, and he was I've got to do the right thing by Luton, got to do the right thing by Luton. But just that moment, it was just bosh.
Yes. Listen, guys, it's been fabulous. It's Christmas Eve, and tomorrow, Christmas Day. Cannot look at your watch, Rob. Right,
just get out.
It's Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Looking forward to Christmas Day.
Yeah, massively.
Obviously, Boxing Day, we've got a fixture. Hopefully, we'll get some points out of that.
Yeah.
It's been a delight being with you guys. Everyone else who's watching, listening on Christmas, please have a fantastic Christmas. We'll see you after the Boxing Day game. We'll be back on the podcast then.
Yeah.
A lovely Christmas, and
Yeah.
Go on.
I'd just like to say, for everyone that comes to speak to us, whether it's during a game or whatever the situation is, we love it because
it's always good. It's always good to say
it means an awful lot, and the fact that people listen to us means that they've got absolutely nothing else to do with their time.
Can I just say, this time when we started this podcast, we were sober, and at the end of this podcast, we're not.
I am.
So
I am.
I'm very sober. Dave's the only one.
Yeah, this is the real Steve.
Right. Okay. At the end of the day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and have a great Christmas. And we'll see you after Christmas Day, Boxing Day game.
After we've got 3 points.
Boxing Day game, 3 points. Weather permitting, obviously.
Exactly.
And we'll go from that.
Love to everyone.
Excellent,
Take care.
Excellent. Have a good one, boys and girls. Thank you very much.